From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Direct from Santa Monica, California today. A recon is going to a final vote, and the confirmation will be rubber stamped. A deal hatched on Friday, and this incredible deal means that we will have a passed recon in the House of Representatives. Off to the Senate we go. The voting, we now have a date about that as well. And then a price tag, not so much. The price is right. No one's going to win the Showcase Showdown on this one because no one knows what the price is. What's going on? I'll have the latest details in the second half of this video. Then we go with the programs in, programs out across all these incredible clusters of checks. Across all these clusters of checks, you will get about $15,000. I'm going to show you how you get these money incredible programs across the board. More student loan debt forgiven. Yes, the president has now proposed $10,000 on top of the existing student loan debts. I'll have those details and more. And then your COLA. Get ready for COLA raises next year, but get ready for fifth stimulus right behind that. That'll be that big relief for my SSI and SSDI and seniors and also veterans. The incredible great news, all direct from Santa Monica, California, this beautiful afternoon. We got all the details. We got all the money. We got all the programs. Oh, wait, they missed something again. The darn bacon bill. I mean, you know, this is what Bernie's for. Bacon. Get the bacon for us, Bernie. And it's a big afternoon. The excitement starts right here, right now, as the recon is going to be passed with a rubber stamp and perhaps a little bit more rubbery than gumpy in just a few days. This is Afternoons Lalate. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat and tell me how the weather is today and where you're tuning in from. Well, here we go. A deal was reached Friday evening for the recon to be rubber stamped by a formal vote, even though it's functionally been agreed upon by all Democrats on that Friday night. The program details include a vote that'll come in just a few days. I have the latest details. And the price is right. No one really knows what the price is. Isn't that confusing? It is. I'll explain it to you in the second half of this video. We got a jam-packed video today, folks. Then programs in, programs out. These programs across 3 clusters of checks and 2 add-ons so far pay you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters. I'm going to show you how to get this money after you got an average of $45,000 from third stimulus. Then we'll begin turning to student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven by executive order. Those incredible great news as well. And then the exciting details of fifth stimulus coming right behind this COLA raise of 5.9% next year. Boy, what a big broadcast we got. I'm excited you found me. I'm excited I found you. We're going to get through this together, and this is Lalate, America's most talked about news channel, live in the morning, taped in the afternoon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 16 hours of programming a day, 16 shows per day, 39 hours of programming. I don't know how many hours it is. It's just a lot. And still no bacon. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's start with this incredible recon. The recon, which passed in a subcommittee of the House 3 weeks ago, had 3 clusters of checks, and we're going to go over the status of each of those now in the House bill that will be formally rubber stamped in just a few days. The clusters of those checks pay the viewers of this channel on average across all these clusters of checks about $15,000. The incredible great news is that when you look at third stimulus, the average viewer of this channel got on average about $45,000 across all the incredible clusters from third stimulus. And now when we look over to fourth stimulus, here we go. The excitement starts right here. And it starts with many of the provisions you saw under third stimulus that paid you tens of thousands of dollars and are still paying them. Then you have on top of that these other clusters of checks across the board that pay you on average across all these incredible clusters of checks about $15,000. Let's go into the first cluster, starting right now with number one. Hazard pay and elder care got in there. Hazard pay and elder care. I'm going to say in this video, front end or back end. Hard cold cash in the front end or back end, meaning on the back side. And remember, these are all checks that are into the House bill, still can be modified on the Senate side. So hazard pay got in their back end check for my essential workers one more year. $4,000 of elder care believed to be back end, and then $4,000 for care for the young children. They got hard cold cash checks front end for my college students, $550 checks if you're on the Pell's grant. Wow. They got front end hard cold cash checks of the CTC for one more year. The child tax credit, $3,600 or $3,000 for that low income family. Then they got money in there to repair your home if you're in a low income community. You've been sending me a lot of questions about it. Later in this video, we're going to go over each of these checks slowly. So get your pen, paper ready. We'll go over that. Those are hard cold cash checks. And then the exciting details is $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. This is back-end checks, and that is U.S. auto manufactured. 15% for the purchase price of a new electric car as well. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters, and it is a hard cold cash check. It is a front-end check, and boy, it got in there, this add-on. Not at the price point she wanted it at, but it's in there. Oh, boy, this is exciting. Lynn, Glenn, Ryan, countless viewers like Mary sending me DMs. I keep them coming. I'm going to be addressing your questions later in this video. How do you get this money? What is it? It's purchase of your first home. They're going to give you hard cold cash checks. She wanted it at $25,000. It's not going to be at $25,000. We don't know the number just yet, but this is hard cold cash checks, money to you or to the seller during escrow for the purchase price of your first home. It's incredible. It's insane. It's so good. Let's go to the second add-on of checks, the second cluster of checks, and let's see the status of those and the numbers. Here we go. Paid family leave and medical leave, got it in there. Child care, got it in there. Household tax credit, got it in there. Pre-kindergarten, got it in there. Tuition-free community college, out, did not survive. And the weatherizing your home, in there as well. So let's go over the calculations of those checks. Remember, stay with me to the very end of this video. We're going to go over each of these checks slowly. So get your pen and paper and notes ready about how you qualify for these items. First, weatherize your home. You definitely need that. If Joe Manchin pulls up in the driveway with that Maserati in that horrible color, then pre-kindergarten, totally free. And this is hard cold cash checks for 1 year for 3 to 4 year olds. Then the money for paid leave and family leave. This is hard cold cash checks, thousands of dollars, and that is for all eligibility. It's coming up late in this video. And there you go. Wow. Let's go to the second add-on. And it's huge. It's huge. It was supposed to be $250 billion. That's what Senator Bob Casey wanted, and Joe Biden. They didn't get that price point, but a little bit less. It's not hard cold cash. It's a covered benefit. But whoa, what is it? It is free in-home health care for my seniors and my people on disabilities. And you sent me some great questions about that overnight. I'll be answering those questions on there later in this video. Yes, that is in-home health care, a covered benefit for my seniors, Medicare and Medicaid, and people on disabilities. Let's go to the third cluster of checks and see the status of those this beautiful afternoon. Okay, you're ready? I know you are. I can just smell the bacon. It's just not here where I smell it. Free school meals for all. They got it in there. That's a hard cold cash check, $65 a month when the kid is not in school. And when they are in school, it's a covered benefit, cheaper prescription medication. Not a check, a covered benefit. Immigration reform, not a check, just a benefit. Then free internet. Don't know if it got in there. Clean energy, it's out. The workers' money, independent contractors, don't know. And then the Medicare expansion. Let's go over those details on air right now. That has a series of different items in there. First, dropping the Medicare eligibility. I don't think it got in there. Second, the Medicare gap, which is those 12 holdout states, got it in there. Stay with me. I'm going to cover this later in this video. The hearing, got it in there. Dental vision, not in there yet, but going to go in there on the Senate side. So says Bernie. All right, that brings us to the third add-on. That third add-on is the IRS monthly stimulus check or multiple stimulus check, MSC. There's a lot of opportunity to do it, and there always has been that opportunity on the Senate side. The senators were the legislators who told viewers of this channel over the last few weeks, thousands of viewers, over countless weeks, that they would insert an IRS monthly stimulus check. Their representations came from Senators Coons, Warren, Sanders, Casey, Wyden, and Schumer. Schumer has told Donnie's wife, and other viewers across the board that insertion is coming in the next few, as soon as it lands in the Senate. Now, what's different today is that we see really a lot of new twists, and the new twists give us two opportunities, not one, on the Senate side to add this provision. First, during the vote-a-rama. What is the vote-a-rama? The vote-a-rama is singularly the most important part of the entire voting process. At the very end of this whole endeavor is 2 days, 48 hours, in which the senators introduce amendments or changes to whatever was in the House bill. And historically, the vote-a-rama has been critical. It debuts stuff that the House never did nor even thought about. Case in point, third stimulus early this year. Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren said, you know what, we're about to forgive some student loan debt, or the president's about to forgive some student loan debt. We need to make sure that is a tax-free event. Because currently, it is a taxable event, meaning if the president was forgiving $20,000 of student loan debt in January this year, you would have to pay $10,000 in taxes approximately. Yeah, you don't have $10,000 sitting around. So Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer took care of this because the House didn't, and they put the provision into the third stimulus during vote-a-rama, tax-free event. That is why the vote-a-rama is a critical event at which Chuck Schumer, who's in charge of the vote-a-rama, in charge of the Senate, in charge of when things are called, for the insertion of this provision. But there's another opportunity, and the other opportunity, which I'm going to detail a lot later in this video, is the Senate subcommittee. Normally, when you're looking at House and Senate, when they're both in the controlling party at the same caucus, here the Democrats, you would think that there would not be a Senate subcommittee, but it's a little bit different in the last 7 days. Nancy, Bernie, all the people involved say there's a lot of work to be done on the Senate side. If there's a lot of work to be done, then we go to subcommittee, yes, and that is where they start to put things in there and work it up. And guess whose Senate subcommittee would be critical? Bernie's, yes, that Senate budget subcommittee would be critical across the board. Boy, we are heating up, but we're not finished there yet because you need to advocate. And the incredible message of advocacy comes in for not just me and you, but also the chief of staff to the number one legislator in the recon, to us. Their message to us, her message to us says the following. They now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy for the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. You have delivered over 3 million calls, but you can't stop there yet. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching story from LA viewers. Now they have a better understanding of what people are going through than a bunch of signatures in a petition. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people. In you, Lalate, across the nation, because you have become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. Am I loud because of the red shirt? People are saying, where's the red shirt? It's Sunday. Sunday's the red shirt. Tiger Sunday. Please continue your encouragement. Let's read the last sentence on air together. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people. You have become Lalate, and continue until this becomes law. As Jennifer says in every video every day, how many calls have you made? People have been asking who to call. I would absolutely only focus on the Senate right now because the House is rubber stamping this for a vote. So for purposes of the House, I believe we are done unless something goes off the rails. So the focus is laser on the senators. Write them down. Coons, Casey, Ward, Sanders, Schumer, Wyden. Advocate. Don't ask. Don't search. Don't ask like a donut guy. Advocate. I need it because of this. You've been doing a great job and pick it up, and I am so excited for you. In the second half of this video, we have more exciting details as the recon is done for purposes of the House. But wait a second. Have they voted? It's very confusing. I'll explain the details. As they did a major deal on Friday night that said, we're done for purposes of the recon. We're just waiting for a report. And when will that report come? That determines when the vote happens. I'll give you the date on the vote. The prize is right? No. No one's going to win the Showcase Showdown on this one because no one knows the prize. A little confusing it is. I'll explain it later in this video. Then we go to programs in, programs out. This is where you want that pen and paper ready. Take notes and get ready to make sure you know all the money because it's Purple Hawk. Hawk, you're about getting that money before anyone else. It's first come, first serve. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. And then we turn the incredible COLA raise, 5.9%. But get ready for fifth stimulus right behind that. It'll have 1 and 2 lift ups and then 3 benefits incredible across the board. As we go into the second half of this video, stay with me. In 60 seconds, I'll be back with you with the incredible great news about the recon, the passage, the House bill off to the Senate, and the money across these incredible clusters. I'll see you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now in the second half of this video as we go over the deal. All that recon hatched on Friday. This means we will have a formal vote even though we have a functional vote already done. What happened? I'll explain the details. The vote, what date? I'll explain that as well. The price tag, no one really knows, so how are they doing this? Confusing it is, but I'll explain it in the second half of this video. And this becomes then the most important part of the recording. Programs in, programs out, get those pen and paper ready. We're gonna take notes about the big money you get under this recon. It's incredible, it's exciting. Programs in and programs out. Well, student loan debt could be in as well. Not into the recon, but by executive order. $10,000 of it, all the latest details. And then fifth stimulus. We got that coming right behind that COLA raise of 5.9%. We got a big recording. I'm direct from you from Santa Monica, California. And this, my friends, is LA, America's most talked about news channel. Now recording nearly over 16 shows per day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Thank you for making yesterday one of the most watched days of this channel in several months. And let's go right into the details of this incredible dramatics that unfolded on Friday. On Friday, a lot of things happen. And what I'm going to do with you first is I'm going to step it back a notch. If you've just found this channel, you're a beginner, or you've been a long-time viewer and you're advanced, I'm going to step it back so everyone understands it, because it was very, very complicated. Going into Friday, we had a recon and we had a roads and bridges. Let's look at the two bodies of legislation. The roads and bridges, also called infrastructure, is one body of legislation. It has nothing in there for you. The other body of legislation is your recon, aka reconciliation, aka the spending bill. That has your money in there. Who are the proponents of the recon? The progressive Democrats, who are the proponents of the roads and bridges, the moderate Democrats. Now, the moderate Democrats are not against the recon. They just wanted to see certain documents before they vote on it. Going into Friday night, Nancy Pelosi had a problem. One side was saying one thing to one side, and the other side was saying the same thing back to them. This was what was going on. The progressives said to the moderate Democrats, we will block your roads and bridges vote unless you vote on a recon. And the moderate Democrats said the same thing back to the progressives. You vote against our roads and bridges, we will vote against your recon. Nancy did the best thing she is best at. She got an agreement, and it's a shocking agreement because it's incredible. It's great, and I don't know how they agreed to it, but they got it done. This was the agreement, and let's go slowly over it because it's very peculiar, and it may not make sense to some people, but when you hear it slowly, it does. The agreement she reached was for the moderate Democrats to raise their hand and vote, put in writing and sign and stand face to face with the progressives and say, we will vote in favor of your recon, guaranteed, after we receive a report from a committee, a nonpartisan committee called the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, no later than November 15th. Wow, that's a lot in a sentence, isn't it? So what does it mean? We will definitely vote in favor of your recon. When? After we receive the report. So does that mean if the report is bad, they can change their mind and vote against it? No. That's what's so strange about the agreement. The progressives certainly thought that the moderates could back out and say, I don't like the report now, I'm going to vote against. No, the agreement says we just need to have that report come on in, and when we have the report, we'll vote in favor of your recon. So why do they need that report? Because they want to look at the numbers of the recon, but they're not going to hold it up for purposes of the House. It's likely for the Senate to send the report over to the Senate with the passage in the House. Wow. So when will that report come in, and what is that date? So the agreement says that we will vote as soon as we get the report in, no later than the week of November 15th. All right, so let's go over that. Let's go over those words very slowly. That does not mean on November 15th. It does not mean the week of November 15th. It means no later than the week of November 15th. So could it be this coming week? It absolutely can. How long does it take for this Congressional Budget Office report to be generated? I don't know. But the big question is, when did they request it? I've been covering this report since I believe last Tuesday, when senators were calling for it to be done like Bob Menendez. So if that's the case, it may be done. I don't think it takes more than a week to get the report. And if that's the case, we could see the report this coming Tuesday or Wednesday. As I've been telling all viewers all weekend long, just pencil in to take a nap on Thursday. You know why. Nancy just loves one particular extracurricular activity, voting on Thursdays at midnight. I don't know why. What is with Thursdays and midnight? And Nancy, did she just grow up saying, it's Thursday night, Mom, can we vote? Honey, you need to go to bed. It's midnight. I need to vote. It's Thursday night at midnight. What are we voting on? I don't know. Little Mermaid versus My Little Pony. It's just, why does she have to vote on everything on Thursday night? I don't know. But that is her obsession, and that is likely to happen this week. So let's read the actual quote, which repeats exactly what we just went over. We commit. This is the written in blood comment. No, it's actually the vote that the moderate Democrats raised their hand and said yes. And then they also wrote in writing and signed it. We commit to voting back for the recon in its current form and technical changes as soon as we can get the Congressional Budget Office report, but no later than the week of November 15th. Finally, side note, there is a word that's being used for both bodies of legislation, as if we're not confused enough, Mr. President. The Build Back Better programs. Yeah, can we just change different names? The naming nomenclature of the White House can be improved. All right, so that is that exciting details of the deal, and then the vote. So the vote could potentially happen as early as this week. We're waiting for that CBO report to come on in. So what is the CBO report going to say? It's going to say what I've been saying, that there's something wrong here. We were told over a week ago that the recon price point is 1.75. I said that's not the case because paid leave is now in there. We started this week with 3 provisions out, and I said all 3 provisions were going to go in. They got in. Paid leave, SALT, and also cheaper prescription medication. So you can't be still at 1.75 because the paid leave is $200 billion. So now you're at 1.95. And then those other 2 provisions, what's the price point on those? We don't know. So at least $2 trillion. We're not 1.75. Even stranger was on Thursday morning, a joint taxation report was issued. It's a partisan report. And it said that no, of 1.75, 1.45 of it is paid for. $500 billion of it is not paid for. So the president's comments on Saturday morning to the American people says all paid for it, not according to your own report. So that's why they're looking for this Congressional Budget Office report. Programs in, programs out. Well, here we go. We're going to go over each of these programs one at a time, and we're going to start with the paid leave. Get those pen and paper ready. You know, I love your comments. I love your questions. Keep on bringing them to me. I'm going to answer them on air as we go over each of these programs, and I'll feature more answers tomorrow as well. Paid leave, paid medical leave in the House bill will be passed by the House. What is it? How much does it pay? How does it work? First of all, it's hard cold cash checks. It is upfront. Second, it is a lot of money. Third, it's everyone that works. It's huge. Okay, let's go over what it is. Paid leave for family or medical leave means you have to stay home because of the birth of a child or staying home because of an illness, because of your illness or someone in the household. Not COVID, just illness in general. So if you look back over the last year, did your son have flu for the week and you had to stay home? Did you stay home for 2 days because you had to take your wife to a dental procedure? Did you stay home because you broke your leg and pick up basketball tournament game on the weekend? Yeah. So this is you. Then how much does it pay? A lot. Under third stimulus, it was going to pay $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year, $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year, $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. How many weeks? 4. Yeah, 4 times $1,700, that's about $5,000, $6,000. 4 times even the low end of $800, $400 a week. Yeah, that's at least $1,000, $2,000. It's a lot of money. And here comes the best part of the incredible news. It's for everyone. Nancy got it in at the broadest eligibility possible, meaning all U.S. workers. Doesn't matter if you're W-2 or 1099. It doesn't mean if you make $100,000 of annual salary, if you make $10,000 of annual salary. All types of workers, all income levels. For example, Uber or Lyft driver, your wife's pregnant. You can take off time even though you don't have an employer, you're 1099. Department store employee, you have to stay home to take your wife for a medical procedure. Yeah, you get that as well. It's incredible, and it is in there, and that is the first of those 3 add-ons that I predicted were going to go in there this week, and they got in there. The second add-on, let's go to that, and that is SALT. SALT has caused some people questions and confusion because it is a confusing term. In fact, I didn't even know what it was until about 2 weeks ago. So I started to learn it for you because you're asking the questions, and I'm bringing the answers on air. Someone said, can you slow it down on this one? Absolutely. It is one of those very confusing provisions in here. But once you hear it, it's very simple. When you go to pay your state or local tax return every year to your state, you pay taxes. Now, those taxes you pay to your state or local government, you can deduct on your federal IRS tax return. But there's a problem. You can only deduct up to $10,000 of it in a given calendar year because the Trump tax code changes 2017. So in California, New York, New Jersey, where there's big taxes, a lot of people want to deduct more than $10,000. They can't. And this is called lifting the SALT cap. So they got it in there. This is from Gothenheimer, the moderate Democrats in the House. How much is it? What is it going to work? You can deduct up to $72,500 from your state and local taxes on your federal tax return under this incredible provision added. All right, let's go over some other provisions in this entire recon. So we can go over a few provisions now, then do some more, and then do some more. So get that pen and paper ready. We just did the paid leave. It's 4 weeks, all income levels. We just did the SALT. The hearing coverage, I do not know if this is a voucher, a hard cold cash check, or if it's a covered benefit. I think it's going to be a covered benefit. Then cheaper prescription medication, we're going to go over that in a second. That's a covered benefit. $40 billion of free job training. Some viewers yesterday were ecstatic about it. You absolutely should. You want to be a truck driver and make a godly sum of money, then now you can get that job training. I don't know what type of jobs. Can you become a pilot from that job training? Yeah, there's a lot of free job training. $40 billion of it. That's insane. It's incredible. Okay, here comes another confusing provision, so let me slow it down on this one. The Medicaid gap fix got in there. What is this? When Obamacare was passed and offered across the country, there were 12, quote, holdout states where the governors were Republican and they offered it to their citizens, but they refused to pay for it to the federal government because they're led by Republicans. They were called the holdout states. There's 12 of them. So Raphael Warnock, the senator from Georgia, and Claiborne, the senator from the Carolinas, came together and got a wonderful workaround for this one per the instructions of Joe Manchin. It's wonderful. They now got a workaround plan where in those 12 holdout Republican governor states, they will offer you subsidized private insurance if you are a low-income person at a very, very cheap rate. Wow. They got immigration reform in there. Okay, let me go over that immigration reform because people are asking questions about it. And yeah, it is the direct derivation of a very bad faux news story. The faux news story with a with an animal that has a little furry thing at the end of his leg. The faux news story stems from a report that says during the Trump administration, thousands of immigrants were separated from their parents at the border. Thousands. But eventually only hundreds of them filed a lawsuit, many with the ACLU, in federal court against the federal government. Those lawsuits are going to settlement negotiations. Some of the lawyers have demanded $400,000 settlement offers. They're lawsuits. They're not part of the recon. They're not part of the roads and bridges bill. But the faux news story said that the settlement offers, if paid, are in these bills. No. They're not. The settlement offers have nothing to do with the bills. They're just settlement. It's with the Department of Justice. And in fact, the president said, I'm not settling them for $400,000. And it's just a few hundred people. So there you go. Then housing assistance. Yes, this is huge. If you've been with this channel since January of this year, you know that as soon as third stimulus became law, I said I can get the viewers on average of this channel $15,000 across all the programs on the third stimulus. The average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000 from third stimulus for things like rent, mortgage assistance, utilities, and then if you add in their SNAP as well. So anywhere from 20, 30,000 is a very common number on this channel. The great news is that all those programs are back under fourth stimulus. So if you got it under third stimulus, you can get it again under fourth stimulus. Let's go over the calculations. Third stimulus viewers have gotten 1, 2, or 3 rounds of these monies. And the monies under the housing programs, a third stimulus, was $47 billion. And you got $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 when I said you can get $15,000. Well, guess what? Those rounds of money are back into fourth stimulus at a price tag of $150 billion. Not 45 anymore, not 47, now $150 billion. Whoa. So you can get another round of this. This will likely pay all the way into December 2022. That is where these numbers are coming from this channel. Then the incredible details is that there's other items that are added in there, including the other checks we've covered so far in this video. And they are those home repairs for low-income community, the weatherizing your home, and then the purchase price of your first home. Wow, it's incredible. Then in-home healthcare, $150 billion for in-home healthcare for seniors and people on disabilities, likely a covered benefit across the board. Then $550 hard cold cash checks to my college students. If you're on the Pell Grant, you will get this check. The big surprise is that climate, we thought it was only for power plants. Not true. There's going to be $12,500 in tax credits. This is back-end money for people who buy electric vehicles for union shops. Currently at $7,500, they're ramping it up to $12,500. That's more than the subcommittee of the House had it at. And yes, that means U.S. auto manufacturers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Wow. And then children who stay home from school during the summer months, they will get $65 per month per child for food. And then when they're in school, they'll get that free money as well. Let's turn to prescription medication. Wow. Prescription medication is the biggest win of this entire recon. If you're a senior, if you're on Medicare, you should be ecstatic. It will end 20 years of oppression against Medicare by Big Pharma. Let's go back in time and bring it up to the present. 20 plus years ago when Medicare was rolled out, it said under its charter establishment that it must pay whatever the pharmaceutical companies, Big Pharma, require them to pay. And over those 20 years, with 15 plus lobbyists on payroll year after year, Big Pharma has blocked any change of the provisions. Bernie Sanders said that every year senators have met to try to change this provision and cannot. And this year it changed. Who changed it and who should get the credit and who should be fired? The person who should get the credit is Joseph Biden. On a Wednesday night, not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before this, he picked up the phone, and how he only can do is Joe Biden, picked up the phone and called Kristen Sinema, the holdout on this for months, and said, Kristen, you need to come on board. You need to come on board, and we need to get this done and settled. And she finally, after months of resistance, said yes, agreed to this reform, and is now blessing the entire rest of the recon only because of that call from Joe Biden. Who should be fired? His press corps. Because the next day they didn't even talk about that. In fact, no one even knows this happened. What do they talk about? The climate in Rome. This was the story you run. This is something that impacts people's wallets. You run this story right in the press, and they didn't. So now let's go over the calculations of what happened. So for the first time ever, Medicare Part B, Medicare Part D, your benefits, your medication prices will be slashed instantly. Let's go over broadly the calculations, then go over the specifics. By the year 2028, 30 medications will be slashed dramatically because those medications will be subject to good faith negotiations between Medicare and the big pharma. We'll start with about 20 medications right out the door, and then we'll ramp up every year with more of them. They'll be tied to inflation at that particular year, so they can't go up much. Remember, inflation is where fist stimulus is going and everything else. And Medicare Part B and Medicare Part D includes the most expensive medication, and this agreement is regarding the most expensive medication. It's not regarding $10 medication. It's regarding the big ones. Yes, I asked viewers to send me a message to tell me how much you pay as a senior on Medicare for insulin. Kathy said she pays, I think she said $510. And then Mark said $510 or $710. I can't remember. Mark's wife, he said she pays $900 plus. Guess what it's going to be? $35. It's huge. It's astronomical. It is jaw-dropping. The medication included in this is arthritis medication, diabetes medication, cancer medication, the most expensive pills on the market, not the $10 flu medication. This is the expensive stuff, and it's going to be slashed dramatically. The reaction came in across the board. And Ron Wyden says, for the first time ever, the government will no longer have their hands tied behind their back. Chuck Schumer, I love him to death. He says, good, we got this done. We're going to come back next year and do it more. I love him. Why? Because it's a starting point. He's going to try to bite away more at this next year. I love it, Chuck. Call me up. I'll help you on this one. Scott Peters says, this is really good for seniors. It is. It's insane. We have Majority Dick Durbin saying it's great. Jan Stachowski from Illinois says she's so excited they got this done despite all these lobbyists. And then Ron Wyden says it's game-changing. Two things we'll learn. One of the things we'll learn this week is the fate of the Senate parliamentarian with two provisions. I thought it was going to happen last week, but it didn't. What is it? The Senate parliamentarian is a lifetime official. She's not partisan. And her job is to look at the provisions in a recon and say, this cannot go by reconciliation under the Senate rules. What two provisions will she be looking at as early as this week? They are immigration reform and paid leave. My predictions, immigration reform will go out because immigration reform was already ruled it cannot go by recon. Paid leave, I don't know. It's 50-50 on this one. A lot of people says it does belong in there. Some people say it doesn't belong in there. So there you go. With three provisions across the board in there this week, what next across the board? A lot of changes. And what you're going to see is in the next few days is whether they're going to send this legislation to a Senate subcommittee after it comes out of the House. You want to hope it does. Why? Because the senators have a lot of work to do. They are all saying a week ago there are major gaps. As we go into the new week, many of those gaps are still there. And so if there are a lot of gaps, you want things to go into a subcommittee so they work it up. Senator Sanders says it's the best bill since the 1960s, but it has some major gaps in there. It doesn't make sense that there's nothing for dental and eyeglasses. When asked, are you going to add provisions in there? He said, of course I am. We need dental vision, and it's unconscionable that we don't have it in there. Then we have Ron Wyden, Democrat, Oregon, progressive senator, says the deal is not done to the Senate acts, and he says there's a significant amount of work to still be done. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, says changes need to be done. AOC and Jalal were all told last week senators are making changes coming up. Chuck will make changes. The parliamentarian removes provisions. Remember, if the provision goes out, the money does not go out. It just can be reallocated to someone else. And then we have Senator Chris Murphy, Connecticut, says changes coming across the board. So what is in there? Get that pen and paper ready. Let's go over the details. And I sent a message yesterday. I'm going to say it again today. I love it. I want you to make notes. I want you as a Purple Hawk to be ready to pounce and get this money before anyone else. But I want you to know, yes, it's not law yet, but do I qualify for it? I heard this. I want to ask a question about it. If you have a very complex question that is not covered in this recording, send me a DM on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will feature an answer on air, because a lot of your questions help me think it through, things that I have not thought about. That's what I'm here for, helping getting you money. It's all about help on this channel. Universal pre-kindergarten. This is 1 year, 3 to 4 year olds. This is hard cold cash checks to the parent. The earned income tax credit, the CTC 1 more year, my notes show $60,000 a household. So if a single parent, $60,000. Married couple, $60,000. The notes released from some places show it at $150,000. We will see. Again, this is hard cold cash checks. Low income, $3,600 to $3,000 per year. The earned income tax credit, back end for my essential worker, 1 more year of this. The home health care. This is likely a covered benefit, not a check, where they're providing you that home health care for seniors and persons on disabilities. Here came a question overnight about this one. One viewer said, what about the people who actually provide the service? A lot of them are overworked. They don't have good quality of life. There is a provision that I had seen floating around in recent days that talked about that the home health care workers will also be treated better or paid better or get better benefits for the situation. So it's not only the caring for the person, the patient, but also making sure the home health care provider gets treated better as well. So great question. I don't know the specifics of it just yet. Hearing care services, yes. We don't know if this is a voucher, hard cold cash check, or just a covered benefit. Then we have other provisions, and you know which ones we're going to be talking about, which is that home stuff. It's just incredible. The rent, the utilities, the mortgage assistance, the repair of the home, and then the purchase price of your first home, all hard cold cash checks. Some of the great questions have come in. Ryan asked if I want to buy a mobile home, not a brick and mortar home. Is that covered? I don't know. Great question. I would presume so. We will see it as we get closer to law. Another viewer, I think her name was Mary, sent me a private message. She bought her first home with her husband. They're now divorced. If she goes buy her first home under her single name, does that qualify? Wow, what a great question. So we have to look at the word eligibility's definition in the bill when it goes to the finish line. That is a great question. A lot of people have been asking about those home repairs. Now remember, the nonprofits under third stimulus have been paying viewers of this channel for nominal repairs, like a broken glass window. They don't want there to be a draft or rain to come in or snow to come in. I've had people asking, how do I get my roof repaired? They don't have that under the nonprofits. That's a big expenditure, but that's likely to slide under under this provision for a low-income community home. If you want to know if you're a low-income community, there's a lot of online websites where you can type in your zip code, and it'll tell you that. SBA.gov used to have one as well. I don't know if it still does. So what provisions will still be added in as we go over the Senate? This is what's very important, is that if you look at this bill that'll get rubber stamped in the House in just a few days, that bill will grow. So says the Senate Democrats. Now, certain Senate Democrats want to remove provisions, but it will also grow. And what will grow in it? Well, that comes Bernie, part of the equation. Bernie says it doesn't make sense that we're the richest country in the globe and we do not have money for teeth and vision. So that would mean we would not be at 1.95. We will be potentially higher across the board. No problem. People are not having a problem with these number changes. Let me make that clear. I haven't made that clear in a couple of days. 1.75, 1.95. No one is sitting around saying, oh, you went up $200 billion, not doing the deal. No one's saying that. So let me just make that clear. So what other programs could be going in on the Senate? We certainly know what they are. Let's go over them. First, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. I don't think it's in there. It was supposed to be in there. It was passed in a subcommittee of the House, but I don't think it's in the House for bill. So Bernie wants it at 55. Bob Casey wants it at 60. It's currently at 65. Then the dental and the vision, both last in the House bill as hard cold cash checks. Going back in there, Bernie says they are. I think at least one of them will be. Let's go with the dental. The dental was last in the legislation at $850 checks. in the mail to you, vouchers per year. Dental, that covers a cleaning, doesn't really cover much of a procedure. So not enough money, I had said. Bernie didn't like it. He wanted 10 years of full covered benefits. And then he wanted 3 years of full covered benefits. He did not like the idea of the vouchers. Let's see what happens with that one. Then the vision, very easy to do. Bernie wants a prescription and a pair of glasses each year. Let's say the prescription is $50. Let's say the eyeglasses is $100. That's $150 voucher per year sent to people on Medicare. Easy. A lot of people need glasses, and people need to upgrade their prescription. Very easy. So why so difficult to put it in there? I don't see any difficulty across the board. So those are among the provisions that you should absolutely expect Bernie to put them in there. Let's go over some of my notes and see where things don't line up and do line up. Child care tax credit. I showed $60,000 or less per year eligibility. Then the great news is the in-home health care, 100 to 200 billion. It's huge because Bob Casey wanted 250. So you're pretty close on that one. The housing, which is the rent and the utilities and the repairs, 175. It's huge because third stimulus was 47 billion, and they just sent out the last 13 billion about, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? So it doesn't use up very quickly. Health insurance, more weeks of that, and that is a big question mark. A lot of people want this on the channel, and the clean energy out across the board. More about my commentary of the situation in a second, but first let's turn over to student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven, and this is huge. The president's offered to forgive $10,000 of student loan debt, not by recon, but by executive order. That student loan debt forgiveness is critical after he forgave 1, 2, 3 rounds. He forgave student loan debts for people who became disabled after graduation. He forgave student loan debts for people who work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. And he forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the public sector 10 years after graduation. Then, COLA. You got that letter from Social Security. Did you get it? Don't worry. It's happening anyway, even if you haven't gotten the letter. 5.9%, your benefits are going up next year. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. But this stimulus right behind it, and they want to do it. We have all those credible messages coming in from those legislators says, get ready for fifth stimulus right after fourth stimulus. 3 things it'll do. First, it'll raise your benefits up 2 more times. The first raise will right be after it becomes law, a big single one-time lift. Then a new benchmark next December 2022. It's going to be inflation, which is going to be 1 to 3%. I've been saying, and Jay Powell last week said 2 to 3%. So there you go. That would mean you would get raised up 5.9, then a big raise after that, and then a new benchmark the following December. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? Click the link under the video and become a member today and get that incredible newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the Lalate alert system. The Lalate alert system is the only one of its kind in the nation. It's at news.la.com/alerts, totally free. It gives you an alert when there's a new video and also gives you an alert when the newsletter comes out. The newsletter features all the big money that viewers from third stimulus were able to get far in excess of the $15,000 I predicted. 20, 30, 40,000. A lot of viewers have gotten over 100,000. If you've been a viewer of this channel for the last few weeks, you've seen the graph. Can't run them every single day. That should be you. Then it also will feature what's coming up under fourth stimulus as soon as it becomes law. So consider becoming a member, and congratulations to all the new members that joined this week. There were a lot of them. And with that, let's go into my commentary as we go into the final seconds and minutes of this video right now. What a week it has been. It has been an incredible week where the president did what he does best, negotiate. He's very good at getting holdouts to agree to something. And if there was anything that embodied that was the Kristen Sinema event of that Wednesday night. She was holding up the recon. So that is why the nuances of what happened with the House and the Senate changed this week. Nancy, Bernie, Chuck really think that the president has an innate ability to get people to agree to things in ways that only he can do on the phone, face to face. That's why it's good that he's back in town. That is why it's good that it's going over the Senate, that this recon will pass and it will have these incredible provisions in there. As you look at this recon across all these incredible clusters of checks, it's important to understand there's certain verbs that float out there in our daily life and sometimes on social media. Promised, predicted, and said. Promised Someone sent me a message a few days ago saying, whatever happened to that $10,000 of hazard pay promised to me in 2020? I had to think for a second. I didn't know what the viewer meant, promised. And then I realized, the House had passed a HEROES Act bill in spring or summer of 2020 that had $10,000 of hazard pay in there. As you know, if you're a viewer of this channel, if you take the time to listen to the recordings, just passing something in the House does not make it a law. It then has to go to the Senate. That viewer thought that because it had been passed in the House, it was sending her out a $10,000 check. It went over to the Senate, unfortunately, and at the time, Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Senate. He threw in the wastebasket. So it was not promised $10,000. It was an attempt to provide it to that viewer and countless essential workers across the country. Predicted. It's very hard to predict things across the board. And when we look at, for example, the Senate parliamentarian this coming week, we can only predict, but, it's up to her. She may say both provisions go in, both provisions go out. It's just a prediction. Then, said, it's important to understand that a lot of people want to take one legislator's words to be said and etch it in stone. But remember, we got a lot of House members, hundreds of them, in just the same political party. And then we got dozens of senators in even the same party. You have Casey, Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Wyden telling viewers over the last few weeks they want to give you a monthly IRS stimulus check, or at least one stimulus check, in the Senate when the legislation lands in the Senate. That's what they have said. Now, when it comes to the final step, if one or two people say no and no, then suddenly their ability to give you yes is blocked because two people said no. It doesn't mean that Ron Wyden breached his promise to you. It doesn't mean what he said was untrue. It means that two other people didn't let them do it. And that is sort of the nuances of legislation. You have a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. And ultimately, my job is to report day in, day out, hour by hour, every word that they say. When they say something, if they can't come through on it, doesn't mean they couldn't come through on it because they didn't keep their statement consistent. It often means that someone else blocked them. When we talk about all these incredible provisions, some provisions were at bigger numbers and then they're at smaller numbers. That's because someone changed it on the other side. So ultimately, it's important to remember that when you hear me reporting something, it is what they said. And their determination is to give it to you with all their heart and their soul and their kindness. And ultimately, when Nancy Pelosi passed that HEROES Act in 2020 in the House to provide you $10,000 of hazard pay as an essential worker, she wanted you to have it. That was her heart. That was her soul to provide it to you. When it landed in the Senate, Mitch McConnell didn't want you to have it. And it never saw light of day. And that is the difference of those different words. Coming up later today is a big evening to Lalate. And then we have Street and Stimulus Countdown, our 3-hour programming block, starting with evenings, then Countdown, then Street and Stimulus. 3 hours of shows. Sit back and let one show go to the next. And then we have shows at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11:30. And we return tomorrow morning at 3 and 3:30. And then at 4 a.m. with Early Mornings Lalate, and Mornings Countdown, and Mornings Lalate live on air. And so with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Don't forget to advocate. How many times have you advocated today? How many times have you advocated tomorrow? Bring your questions and comments, the most advanced and the most intellectual and the most in-depth. Send them to me on social media, and as time goes by, I'll either answer them on air or directly to you or both when I get them. That's the focus of this channel, helping you since day one. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and help other people as well. And stay with Ally for more.